Jai Hind. We are on the portal of I Am Still Human, and there was a very big demand from our viewers that we want to listen to somebody who's expert on the topic China. And for me, there is no better person than Dr. Amrita Jash. Uh, she's an expert on the topic China. We welcome you to the forum of I Am Still Human, Dr. Jash.
Thank you very much, General Gurmeet Singh. It's indeed a privilege for me to be in this forum and share my ideas on the very pertinent issue of India-China, which is indeed uh, uh, very significant. And more than that, the public needs to have a greater understanding of what this relation means in real terms.
Thank you, Dr. Amrita Jash. I would like to tell our viewers that Dr. Amrita Jash is PhD from JNU, and she's recently returned from Cambridge, where she's gone for the research on India-China issue. And she's also on the adjunct faculty of number of think tanks, primarily in Washington, China, India, and she's a very humble person. That's why she's shaking her neck. But to me, she's an authority. Currently, she's a senior fellow in Army's think tank Center for Land Warfare Studies. And I have also been on the topic of India-China. And in the entire scan of intellectuals who deal with the subject, I got highest respect for Dr. Amrita. And straight we come to the point, Amrita. I want to know from you, um, COVID-19, has it reshaped the entire strategic look on world China?
Uh, Indeed, sir, COVID-19 has been a game changer, not just for China, but every aspect of global order. Because as it's proven that, firstly, so far, the strategic weight was just in the hands of a very few. For instance, United States, China, United Kingdom. But COVID-19, the virus didn't respect any borders. And you see the fallout effects are as visible that the major countries, major economy, and the countries with the highest military expenditure are the most affected. So this brings us that, like for instance, that how many nukes are enough to save you? No, not even a single one could have has been able to save you from the COVID-19, and neither your military budget, neither your sprawling economy or GDP. So this brings us to the gamut that whatever the old paradigm of assessing power is needs to be changed. The balance of power, which was already in the shifting stage, has completely changed right now because it's no more balance of power. It is rather balance of threat compounded with balance of interest. That should be our jargon right now. How do we balance? Because as we know, there are no permanent friends, there are no permanent enemies, but it is your permanent interest that matters.
डॉक्टर अमृता आई रिक्वेस्ट बीच में थोड़ा थोड़ा हिंदी भी बोलिए क्योंकि मजा आता है, मातृभाषा है। मेरे को मालूम है आप बंगाली हैं और हिंदी हो सकता है थोड़ा, लेकिन कोशिश कीजिए। मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूं कि आपने चाइना के प्रेसिडेंट शी जिनपिंग के ऊपर में एक बहुत रिसर्च किया था, एक आपने आर्टिकल भी लिखा था। हमें बताइए कि प्रेसिडेंट शी जिनपिंग के बारे में आपके क्या विचार थे, सोच थे, आपकी क्या एनालिसिस थी कोविड-19 शुरू होने से पहले?
तो कोविड-19 शुरू होने से पहले शी जिनपिंग जो मुख्य अधिकारी है चीन के, वो ना ही सिर्फ राजनीतिक विषय में है बल्कि सेना, वो सेना अध्यक्ष भी है. So here it's very important to know one thing, that the People's Liberation Army of China is a party's army, and Xi Jinping, above the president, the most important profile, he is the general secretary of the Communist Party of China and is the chairman of the Central Military Commission. So these two portfolios are very important. President becomes secondary, but these are the very important portfolios. Apart from that, he has all encompassing वो 12 portfolios होल्ड करते हैं. सो ही इज द ऑल पावरफुल मैन. यहाँ पे हम एक सिमिलैरिटी ड्रॉ कर सकते हैं. व्हाट वाज वंस चेयरमैन माओ Zedong, वो है शी जिनपिंग इन 21st century China. No other leader has gone up to that level. Now, if I compare to the COVID-19, pre-COVID-19, yes, Xi Jinping was the all in all. But post-COVID-19, the main question is, do we see a change? How do we see a change? यहाँ पे changes आपको देखना पड़ेगा बहुत बारीकी से. When you look into the domestic aspects of China, that's where the fissures are lying. Because next year we are going to have the 20th Party Congress, which is very important in China. So Xi Jinping किनको choose करेंगे? इसमें है कि शी जिनपिंग जब इस entire pandemic handling में more than शी जिनपिंग जो forefront में थे, वो है चाइनीज प्रीमियर ली खचियांग, जो कि चाइनीज यूथ लीग से बिलोंग करते हैं. वो प्रिंसलिंग नहीं है, अनलाइक शी जिनपिंग. बट शी जिनपिंग मोस्ट ऑफ द पॉलिट ब्यूरो कमिटी मेंबर्स आर प्रिंसलिंग्स, सो लॉयलिस्ट टू शी जिनपिंग. अब देखना पड़ेगा कि क्या इसमें रिवर्सल आएगा कि चाइनीज यूथ लीग से लोग आएंगे इन द नेक्स्ट अपकमिंग 20th पार्टी कांग्रेस.
डॉक्टर अमृता, आपने बहुत सुंदर तरीके से बताया कि ही वाज पुटिंग ऑन 12 हैट्स, ही वाज द कोर लीडर, लेकिन उन्होंने एक बहुत कोर मिस्टेक कर दी जब से कोविड शुरू हुआ. बहुत ही एक बड़ी मिस्टेक, स्ट्रेटेजिकल एक कोर मिस्टेक की है. मैं आपसे जानना चाहता हूं कि दिसंबर 19 से लेकर एंड ऑफ अप्रैल जब ईस्ट लद्दाख में एक्टिविटी बढ़ी, तो इन दिस पीरियड ऑफ दिसंबर 2019 टू अप्रैल 2020, what was brewing up in China?
So what was brewing up in China, if I can tell you one thing, when in 2019, China for the first time declared about SARS-CoV-2. As we see that, the doctor Li Wenliang was the whistleblower, but he was shunted. Then we see gradually, the World Health Organization getting involved. And finally, on 11th of March, who declared what was once Wuhan epidemic to be a pandemic. So the entire globe was affected. Now, under this scenario, more than, taking part in external issues, China was invested domestically, because you need to understand, though China is an authoritarian regime, but their public opinion does matter, and rather it matters more. It's not out and open, but Wuhan led to a severe uprising, which was very visible with the Fang Fang diaries. She actually documented each day of Wuhan lockdown, which furthermore we see the state puts a crackdown on her. They were also, as Dr. Wenliang's death was one of the biggest, hit to the Chinese regime, because there was talks among the public that let's call for freedom of speech, because this disorder could have been stopped if there was greater awareness. But because you are functioning in an authoritarian regime, you can't have the freedom of speech. So under the social rubric of China, there was severe demands that bring about the changes. We see the change. The Wuhan entire political entity was changed. The leadership was changed. This means Xi Jinping was under pressure. So provincial heads were changed after there was a public resentment towards
Dr. Amrita, the entire world, India in special, we want to know, why did he start this enhance the activities opposite Eastern Ladakh? Yes. Everyone wants to know, why was there aggression, provocation, and divisionary tactics given by him? What was the centrality of this mistake that he was doing against India? Can you elaborate on this?
Yes, sir. So one thing I want to send a message that, we shouldn't be surprised by Chinese actions, because China has been doing it. So deception is part of the play, as Sun Tzu says, and, China stands by it. So it didn't happen all of a sudden. Doklam was a reality check. After that, successively, yes, there was a dip. But we see since last year, the transgressions or incursions, as we can say, it has upticked. And in 2019, since 2019 and 2020, in the first half of the year, we see an uptick. and not just along the Indian border. We need to see there was the water, the maritime incursions of China along East China Sea, South China Sea has rampant. So China activated all is, tensed territories at the same time. Why? Because, it's a way of how do you deflect your own public into issues other than your home. Because, when your own people, when your own house is not in order, it will be a big question on the legitimacy of the CPC, which we had seen in Tiananmen. Huge legitimacy crisis. They don't want it. So why not deflect the entire public interest to other cohorts simultaneously? So China has been doing it. So why now? This is one of the reasons. Secondly, China's actions are very much activated by the global resentment. We know that, President Trump called it Wuhan virus. There's a call that make China pay. China should go for a investigation of the virus. So the world is really not happy with China. So as we say, the Chinese, diplomats are becoming wolf warriors. Why is it? Because they are getting assertive, not just in words, but in action. They can't do anything with medical or COVID-19, but they can do, where they have a strong foothold. That is in the border with India, which is the only land border other than Bhutan that remains unresolved. And of course, you see the maritime
Dr. Amrita, so beautifully you brought out this aspect of diversionary tactics. You brought out how the world looks at it. For me, 15 June 2020 was the biggest mistake in the history of China that they have made. On this 15 June, there are three aspects. One is that Indian Army showed a rare glimpse of the courage, bravery, supreme sacrifice, and control also. Secondly, the PLA, the lie, propaganda, the fraud of PLA has been exposed to the entire world. Third is the biggest casualty that day of June, the night of June, 16 June, was the trust. The trust which both the nations, civilizations were maintaining among themselves, that was mutilated that night by the PLA. I want to know your impression of this 15 June as a strategist, as an analyst, as a China watcher. What's your impression of 15 June? Because nation is not going to forget the bravery of the soldier for next 100 years, and for next 1,000 years, China is not going to forget the mistake, a grave mistake that it did. Your viewpoint, please.
No, indeed, 15th June was shocking, utterly shocking for all Indians because, we rose up became awakened to this news because so far what we boasted that not a single fire of bullet got translated into the heavy number of casualties. That too, going back to the Stone Age, which is hard to fathom in all respect that how did it happen when at one end you are talking of de-escalation and on the other end you are attacking. This is not something acceptable. You need to stand by your words. If you're, then why are you catering? Why it makes works easier that if you don't go into de-escalation and you come to confrontation. If you want that, then so be it, because you need to know if PLA is a strong army, so is Indian Army. Indian Army has been constantly engaged in battling with Pakistan, unlike China, whose last war was in 1979. So India, unlike China, the Indian Army is constantly engaged. So, for them, for Global Times to make a remark that Indian Army so and so, it's completely, unacceptable because it's because you only show your own true colors. So firstly, they did it by blaming everything on India. You attack, you come to Galwan, you do everything, and then you put the entire blame to the Indian Army. In my opinion, what irked China is that how could India build its infrastructure? So they know that okay, Indian Army has built the infrastructure. They have the capabilities. It is not that we don't have the capabilities. We have the capabilities. That's why it irked China that how did India do? Because We need to accept for so long. We kept it little, you know, dormant. But all of a sudden, we, being an Indian citizen, everything got rapidified. You know, we got to know in open domain. So I completely feel, in my opinion, that of China,
Thank
that we
you.
have a
Thank
capable
you,
military.
Dr. Amrita, so beautifully put. And in fact, the best word you said, they showed their true color. You would recall that both of us, we are with the Center for Land Warfare Studies, Army think tank, and I'm also a distinguished fellow. You're a senior fellow. Both of us, we are working as a team to work on the convergences that is there between China and India. We have had a lot of discussions with the Chinese scholars, and we also had two seminars with the Shanghai International Institute of Strategic Studies. But to me, 15 June has changed far too many perceptions. In fact, I totally agree with you. I want to know from you, Dr. Amrita, that how do you look at this triangle of US, China, and India?
So, in my opinion, let me say this is not a a totally equilateral triangle. It is not an equilateral triangle at all. We cannot have any convergences on this because the pillars themselves have decoupled. So the triangle cannot be formed. It is now only parallels like India, US, or US, China. We need to be very clear. We cannot club these three together at all. At least from now on, no. I don't think so. It's in the US interest because US has decoupled with China. Now, I would like to argue uh, the more China pushes India at the border, you will see greater convergence with at that level. What China so far thought that Quad was just a construct, they were apprehensive. You are giving all reasons that to get this Quad into a functional mode. And you see the biggest example, the expansion of Quad to that Quad Plus. So I think so. What troubles China most is Quad. Indeed, it has troubled it, it has upset it, it has unsettled it. And under COVID 19, all the more it has unsettled it. And far more unsettling is US India ties, India Australia ties, India Japan ties. India Australia have entered into a comprehensive partnership. They are getting into military logistics. They have upticked, which has happened in recently. So this has, when India is so militarily involved, and currently you see that Mike Pompeo has said that we are with India and you are going to like push our troops. So these are very heavy statements. So if China with this act, it is only isolating itself in the domain, then it can't complain why you are isolating me when you are taking all charge and responsibility, why you
Uh,
are becoming a pariah in the international system.
Dr. Amrita, I would also like to know from you because you've been doing a very chiseled research on economy and trade aspect of China. And I would like to know from you a little bit about the US-China trade war which they had before the COVID. And also would like to know the decoupling that you spoke about just now and the shift of the manufacturer hub, supply chain, and a strategic opportunity available to India at this moment. How do you look at this entire perspective?
So in my opinion, the trade war, even before COVID-19, the global value chain was and the supply chain was already affected by the US-China trade war because they are the central, the pivots. So for that, every other country was already, diversifying because you have to shift your dependency out of China because if there is a US tariff imposed, if you don't align, you also have to suffer because you are also paying. So the process already began, but COVID-19 was just a catalyst. All good reasons that, get yourself out of China. Because with Wuhan lockdown, major countries, everyone has manufacturing units in China, be it United States, be it Japan, be it UK, and as well as India. We have our manufacturing hubs. When China shuts down, everything shuts down because we function in that, concentric cycles. So trade war had impacted. We see that in January they went for the phase one deal, but then we see automatically the spillover effect of COVID-19. It is shut and shunted. But mainly for US, the main thing was intellectual property rights. And US, it was long time this United States was just watching, and finally it took action. And once it took action, we see the spillover effects everywhere, like India too. In in May, what did the Indian government do? The Indian government put a restriction that the companies now need to take a clearance from the government if you are doing business with China. So China is not now added to the old list where Pakistan was earlier added. So the Indian government has already taken its steps. Now we are, we are seeing there, and apart from this, Indian government also, because in India doing business was not that easy, especially for the land issue. But Indian government has already, allocated a land almost the size of Luxembourg to attract more FDIs into India, and India is becoming one of the preferred and destination apart from Vietnam, Thailand, and Indonesia. India is in the lead. And apart from that, the best thing is we are cheap labor. We have a huge market. We have a consumption-based economy. What more do you want? So I think so. The untapped potential is the right time. The other countries need to tap our potential, and also right time for us that we bring out apt changes, apt reforms in the way we function and seize this opportunity. Because one,
डॉक्टर अमृता, once again I'll request थोड़ा थोड़ा बीच में हिंदी भी बोलिए आप. और मैं, यू आर लाइक ए चाइल्ड डॉटर टू मी. मैं आपसे पूछना चाहता हूँ, आपकी ये जो विजडम है, इतनी डेप्थ है, इतनी रिसर्च है, ये कहाँ से आती है? ये फिश के कारण है, हार्डवर्क के कारण है, या रिसर्च के कारण है? मतलब आप बंगाली हैं, बहुत फिश खाती होंगी आप.
not at all, sir. So I would like to, I will take this opportunity to thank my mentors, my teachers who have trained me so well, and above all, in office, getting to interact with the generals. I couldn't have expected that, that gives me both the research, that's the training club with practical experiences. I think so that has helped me groom my research. It was not just books, but also practical experiences clubbed together. So that has
You
shaped
mean to
me.
say, fish didn't play any role?
No, sir, I'm a like semi-vegetarian.
But Bengalis all eat fish.
No, sir, not all Bengalis.
Okay, knowledge. Okay, you were, before this we were talking about China-Pakistan collusiveness. This is one area every Indian would like to know, because in the past we've been quite focused on the Pakistan perspective, because what we see in Pakistan, lie, propaganda, proxy, fundamentalism, that entire, the media warfare, info warfare, you find probably it comes from the source China. This is what we realized on 15 June, that PLA is all absolutely a fake chapter. It is lie, it's propaganda. How do you look at the China-Pakistan collusiveness?
What I would here like to throw some light on the fact, when on 15 June Galwan happened, the next day coverage, China and Pakistan were celebrating the 69th anniversary of their all-weather friendship. This was highlighted in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Nowhere did you find Galwan. So, this is also a kind of information warfare. You're sending a message that who your friend. We know that China today has just two friends, Pakistan and North Korea. And Pakistan, I don't have to comment what we think. North Korea, everyone knows it's a rogue state. So, but you said information warfare. In the trend analysis also, sir, when we see, it was just Global Times that went vocal. But when we see the party papers, for instance, Xinhua, People's Daily, they didn't even play the India-China factor at all. So it was just one mouthpiece which was taking all over internet, Twitter. Mind you, Twitter is banned in China, but Global Times was propagating everything on Twitter. Like, on one end you ban, on the other end you are using a US based medium only to propagate. This is like, China should build its own mechanisms now. So, information warfare is very much a part of China, building narratives. And I think so it's high time we in India start doing it, because we see that Pakistan also does it. Pakistan does it through his own, army portal that it has. So similarly, why not? It's high time. If tit for tat, if you are building, If you are building wrong stories, it's right time we tell you the right stories. If it is about storytelling, then why should India stop? India also should tell the actual truth stories. It's high time that the forces don't have to hide. Let's become transparent. The public today is informed public. At least I can assure. They know what is right and wrong, and when it comes to being an Indian, of course, everyone's nationalism is at the forefront. So, it was shown.
डॉक्टर अमृता, आई वुड लाइक टू नो फ्रॉम यू, आप थोड़ा बताइए कि चाइना की वनरेबिलिटीज क्या हैं। देखिए, अभी यूएस ने 15 पॉइंट प्लान बनाया है। दे हैव इंक्लूडेड सिंजियांग, तिब्बत, हांगकांग, ताइवान, साउथ चाइना सी, ईस्ट चाइना सी, द रिलेशनशिप विद ऑस्ट्रेलिया, द प्रॉब्लम विद इंडिया, एवरीथिंग दे हैव डन। एंड लाइक व्हाट यू हैड जस्ट ब्रॉट आउट थोड़ी देर पहले की, जो पोम्पियो हैं, जो स्टेट सेक्रेटरी हैं, उन्होंने बताया है कि उनकी जो सेंटर ऑफ ग्रेविटी है नाटो जर्मनी से शिफ्ट होके अभी इस साइड में आ रही है। ये बहुत बड़ा एक स्ट्रेटेजिक मूव है। ये एक ऐसा डिसीजन है जो मतलब पूरी दुनिया का जो सिक्योरिटी मैपिंग है, जो जियो पॉलिटिक्स है, जियो स्ट्रेटेजी है, उसको पूरी तरह तब्दील कर देगा। तो आप बताइए कि वनरेबिलिटीज क्या है, और थोड़ा प्लीज वंस अगेन थोड़ा हिंदी भी बीच में बोलिए ना।
सर, चाइना की वनरेबिलिटीज उसके घर के अंदर ही है, हमें कहीं और देखना पड़ेगा। जैसे देखने को मिल रहा है कि हांगकांग मोस्ट प्रेसिंग इशू, आपने अपने खुद के घर को ऑर्डर में नहीं रखा, तो बाहर क्या करेंगे? आप बाहर डिसऑर्डर क्रिएट करो, आपका खुद घर जल रहा है, आप क्या करोगे? सो it is also so it was important for Xi Jinping to create troubles outside, or rather for that matter China to create troubles outside, because चीन के अंदर अभी most pressing issues Hong Kong, Xinjiang, Tibet, most importantly Taiwan, जो चीन को कांटे का टक्कर दे रहा है हर चीज में। चीन के वहां से जहां से वुहान एपिडेमिक शुरू हुआ, ताइवान ने बेस्ट एग्जांपल दिया, हाउ डू यू हैंडल एन एपिडेमिक, हाउ डू यू हैंडल अ पैंडेमिक, नॉट अ सिंगल डेथ। जिस कंट्री को आप वर्ल्ड हेल्थ असेंबली में लाना नहीं चाहते, आप यूएनएससी में मेंबर नहीं, that has set the best example now, which is seen to be not a nation state, has set the best and biggest example to all major countries that you better learn lessons from us. We might not have recognition, but we have done which you couldn't do. Isn't it a reality check that now we have to address that? Where is our stakes like for instance, when India and China's Galwan Valley incident, Taiwan so beautifully portrayed, Lord Rama taking up the dragon. So that is, they are also doing milk tea diplomacy. So we are finding commonality. And to let you know, sir, in this work in 2020's National People's Congress work report, China ने peaceful reunification हटा दिया, peaceful शब्द हटा दिया है. So there's China also knows अब peacefully हो नहीं सकता. Taiwan has set the bar quite high, and now Taiwan, now the countries, no one is taking a back seat. US has already taken a front seat that acknowledge Taiwan is also doing it. So I think so now it's high time there is a greater change. So as we say that the resolution of the India-China border is difficult, for China now resolution of Taiwan, resolution is Hong Kong is far more difficult.
डॉक्टर अमृता, आपने बहुत सुंदर तरीके से बताया, और इस पर तो काफी हिंदी भी बोली है कि चाइना की वल्नरेबिलिटीज क्या हैं। देखिए, आपने एक बहुत अहम बात की, आपने बोला कि उनका खुद का घर जल रहा है और बाहर में लड़ाई करने की सोच रहे हैं। अगर इसी वाक्य को मैं पाकिस्तान का देखूं, उन्होंने तो अपना पूरा घर जला लिया है और अभी भी उन्होंने कश्मीर का राग नहीं छोड़ा है। कभी कभी ऐसे हिंदी में बोलते हैं कि जो ऐसे राग पाकिस्तान रट रहा है कश्मीर का, कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि पाकिस्तान खुद ही एक राख बन जाए। ये थोड़ा गहरी हिंदी में बोला है, समझ आया आपको?
सर, हिंदी मेरी राष्ट्रभाषा है सर।
डॉक्टर अमृता, देखिए, मेरे को एक बहुत अच्छा मौका मिला था, मैं ताइवान में गया था, तकरीबन 2 महीने रहा वहां पर। जब मैं स्टडी लीव लिया था 2 साल के लिए, तो मैंने वहां पे पीएलए और पीआरसी को बहुत उसका अध्ययन किया था उस वक्त में। मैं आपसे डॉक्टर अमृता ये पूछना चाहता हूँ, देखिए 15 जून को तो भारतीय सेना ने पीएलए को बैंग किया, BANG बैंक किया वहां पर गलवान में। सरकार ने काफी जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स थे जो चाइना कंपनीज के साथ में उनको बैन किया, और अभी पूरा भारत उतर आया है एज ए कंज्यूमर किंग कि हम लोग बाइकआउट करेंगे चाइनीज प्रोडक्ट का, चाइनीज एप्लीकेशन का। तो इसके ऊपर में आपकी क्या सोच है कि ये जो चाइना बाइकआउट है, क्या इसका असर होगा नहीं होगा? आप कैसे सोचती है इसके बारे में?
सर, मैं इतना more than boycott China, I want to have a very proactive India who takes charge of its units. So we are not, uh, we are a very capable country. Then why do we have to create dependency, not just in China, but anywhere else? We have a strong base. We are good in automobiles. We have our own companies. It's not like we have just foreign, imports coming up. So it is high time that we know our own potential and tap on it. To very one of the examples I would like to cite, sir. We are talking about four wheelers. India is the leading manufacturer in two wheelers. Bajaj, TVS, these are Indian companies. If you see in Africa and things, and that too coming at a very cost effective manner. Why don't we adopt it in our other sectors? We don't like food, food business. We don't depend on imports. We've created our agriculture is, very self sufficient. It's just that unlike, China, which is just 7% arable lands, we don't have that. So why don't we tap into our own potential? We are the leaders in IT, software. What makes us, just falter in hardware? So isn't it time we complement it? If you go to US, who is leading every organization in Indian? So do we actually need a sanctity or validation? Our Indian minds, we firstly, sir, we need to encourage entrepreneurs. We need to encourage Indian minds, their projects. Like, we are very good at frugal innovations, which we call it jugaad or makeshift. So why not, temper or fed into all these issues where India has a stronghold? Yes, simultaneously we'll strengthen where we have weaknesses. But जो हमारा strongholds है उसमें तो हम अपना
डॉक्टर
strength
डॉक्टर अमृता, Dr. Amrita, I feel very happy, honestly, as an Indian, that what you talked about proactiveness, what you talked about self-worth, what you said own potential. This actually thrills me that uh, Indian intellect, Indian woman speaks like this. We would like to know little आपके परिवार के बारे में, आपके माता पिता के। धन्य है ऐसे माता पिता जिन्होंने ऐसे ऐसी डॉटर को जन्म दिया है। कैन यू टेल अस, you come from which place in Calcutta, a little bit about your parents, family and all?
Thank you, sir. It's indeed a privilege. And as I rightly said, I'm more honored and blessed to have such parents who have given me that space to actually spread my wings and fly as high as I can, because I have been out of home since standard sixth. So it takes a lot of trust for your parents to let your child go, and that my parents took that first leap of faith by doing so. I belong to West Bengal. Calcutta is now my residence, and since my father was in the Indian Railways, he's a civil engineer, now retired. So I got a chance to go to different places because he had a transferable job. And above everything else, I had a very cosmopolitan life, in a sense that though there was coming from a very small town actually, but I got a glimpse of a multicultural society. I went to a convent school where I had a completely heterogeneous society. Plus, in that very small place, which is in West Bengal, I saw people from Iran, from descendants of Britain, Nepal, people from Nepal, Bhutan. So, for me, or Bangladesh for that matter, so it was always I got to see that multicultural but the cosmopolitan aspect that the world has to offer. It was a small place, but it offered me a lot. It was an eye opener for me. So I'm coming from a strong place, and I have graduated all along. So I want to tell to everyone that if you have to shine, you can shine from the corner of the earth. You don't
Dr.
have to
Amrita,
go
Dr.
anywhere.
Amrita, please convey our reverence to your parents. And
Thank
we honestly we appreciate your wisdom, depth, and your hard work and the research. Amrita, now we will come to a concluding phase of our interview, and we are so fortunate that we were able to interact on the video. Now, what I will do is I'll ask you rapid questions. I want you to answer rapidly
you.
because once you do the rapid aspect, then it comes from your subconscious. ये आपके चित्त और चेतना से आता है, उसमें कोई सेंटेंस वगैरह नहीं होता है. तो मैं I'll ask you, I'll say, what is your message for so and so? You please give the answer.
Okay.
And on the topic China and the current this thing. Amrita, what's your message to Prime Minister of India?
You need to check and recalibrate your China policy. It's high time and it's imminent.
What is the message to External Affairs Minister?
Same, rereading, and it's, don't get surprised anymore. And India's national interest should be at the forefront and non compromising on issues of sovereignty and territorial integrity.
Amrita, your message to Raksha Mantri.
You have a very capable army or the armed forces, so just give them the right kind of technologies, because it's 21st century, the right kind of gear that they need, because they are at the borders who are protecting us. They need all these equipments. It's time that we give them what they need and deserve the most.
Amrita, your message to Indian Army.
I said, sir, that you are a very capable force. Don't get demoralized, because you have been fighting. You have given endless sacrifices, which every Indian, treasure in our heart, and we have all faith and trust in the Indian Army.
Dr. Amrita, on behalf of the Indian Army, I can tell you, I can give you guarantee, and it is 2000% guarantee that Indian Army will never ever be demoralized. In fact, if it will be demoralized, it will be the enemy and our primary threat, China and Pakistan. There is no doubt. उनकी उल्टी गिनती already शुरू हो गई है. Amrita, what is your message for women of India?
You are worth every bit of it, and you don't need anybody's validation. Just rise up like a phoenix.
Beautiful, beautiful. What is your message to the youth of India?
You are the youngest population in the world. You are the most creative minds. So make use of it, and don't let short-term losses, uh, uh, you know, create stumbling block for your long-term goals. Be in the moment and see every obstacle as an opportunity. All you need is to set your mind straight. That's all.
Dr. Amrita, I'm absolutely impressed with your research, understanding, wisdom, and depth. My compliments to you, the way you are, on your hard work, and each word of yours will be heard by the nation. And lastly, since you are currently with the Center for Land Warfare Study, any message for your close fraternity and family?
I would like to take this opportunity to highlight Clauser. Like Center for Land Warfare Studies is a think tank which is affiliated with the Indian Army, and we are a small team but a credible team of both. The best part is the intermixing of civil military, the right kind of civil military relations in the most amicable manner you can present at clause. I think so. We set the examples, and right from director clause to that of every aspect, there is so much, it's a seamless effort that comes in. So it's indeed, for me, it's indeed an opportunity and a blessing that I could work with the OG community. I couldn't join in uniform, but I at least could work with the people in uniform. And there was lot like I had my own views and perceptions, and lot has changed because the kind of uh, the space that was granted to me, that the openness, the thought process, that I was heard, I was taken, my words were taken into consideration despite my gender, my age. uh, that was something which I will always treasure no matter where I go. And this is, I don't think so I'll get it anywhere.
Thank you so much, Dr. Amrita. In the end, from the founder of I Am Still Human, Mr. Vivek Mehra, and almost about a million plus subscriber from the I Am Still Human and the Shaurya. This is the NGO which has been doing a fantastic job. From their side, we thank you for an excellent session with you. Jai Hind to you.